Hey guys, so I'm going for a walk right now, and my last video I talked about like 3 years in America and all that. So in this walk, I'm going to share like answers to questions, like general questions about like what documents you need to study abroad, how to get funding, what exams to write, how is your experience being an international student in like in the United States and all that when I was doing my masters and all that. So I'm going to answer all those questions. Then next week I will have another video that is just like personal, up close kind of questions that I would naturally not just answer or talk about on the internet, but I'll ask myself some questions and I'll like answer them so you can find them useful too. Anyways, let's go for our work, but I need to close the door first. Okay, door closed now. Keys in the pocket. And let's go. I'll be asking myself questions. I have like the other kidney in my bag. Okay, so the first question that I have here is, why did I choose to study in the US over other countries? Well, I mentioned earlier in one of my other videos that I always wanted to study in the UK because there was Chevening Scholarship, there was Commonwealth, there was MasterCard, all of which I applied for. So I have a story on that on the channel talking about that. So when COVID happened, I was on the wait list for Commonwealth and all that. So when COVID happened and I was not given like a full like an offer and all that, the next year, one of my very good friends, Samuel, who like together we've been trying this whole UK scholarship thing, eventually got into the US, and I was like, wow, the US is not bad. Let me check too now. And then at my first try, I got it. But beyond that, like we all know that the United States is like, such a great country. Like I want to be there too and all that. And I felt like the academic system here was going to be great. I'm holding my tripod so my hand's going to hurt me and I'll change it often. But like I felt like the academic system will also be great. So I was like, okay, yeah, cool, not bad. And at the first try, I got it. So not bad. The second question is, what's the process for applying to graduate programs in the US? Okay, good. So if you know that you're in Nigeria or you're in anywhere and you want to apply to the US for like graduate program, I say the first thing that you need to do is, even before you determine the school, this is from my own perspective, before you determine the school, like the first thing you need to do is to actually like go and research what course you want to be studying or what program you want to actually study. And then when you Google the program, like read the requirements, you obviously see schools like in the search page, in the result page actually. So the thing you need to do is to read the requirements, read like everything that is required of you for application, read if you know that you need funding, check, oh, do these people offer funding, like do your actual thorough research, right? I would say that that's the first process of applying. Then if you find a school where, oh my god, you're like, I've looked at the program's website, I feel like I want to apply to this school, then I would say before you apply, and especially if you need funding, before you apply, I would say that you should actually reach out to the program director and ask them about funding. Do you guys have funding? What does your department offer to international students? Do you have scholarships? Like all those things you need to ask them and hear from them before you actually use your hard-earned money to apply and pay for application fees, okay? Because if you apply and they don't have funding and don't give any of these things, like, and they give you admission, how are you going to fund it? Else your father has money and they can sponsor you. That's a different case. I would say like those are the processes. Those are the first few processes. Also, if you know anybody that have schooled in that place or stuff, I for me, like LinkedIn was very instrumental. So I would say you should actually do research, try to connect to them. Then when you now get admission, and then let's say you go assistantship and all that, that in itself is another process. But also, like part of the requirement, like I said, some programs require GRE, some programs do not require GRE. Like that's why you need to do your research to find out. The next question here says, what resources or support systems are available for international students? Okay, great. So as a Nigerian and I moved here as a student, first, like I moved to Texas. Okay, so Texas is like, oh, Nigerians are a lot in Texas, so I'm not going to lie. So like beyond what the school has to offer, there's also what the Nigerian community where you are has to offer. Okay, so I'll use my school for example, where I did my masters. You they have like international student offices where you can, like, they tell you everything about like all you have to do to keep in status. They tell you everything that is required of you. Oh, you need to be on 9 hour credit. They tell you, oh, we have this food bank for international students. So like some of those resources or support are there. Even your department, some of them will be like, oh, we know international students don't get paid like in the month where they resumed. So that is if you have an assistantship. So they'll be like, all right, cool, we're going to give you this scholarship to just offset some of your bills. Like some schools, again, research. So some schools have like different resources. Some schools, like, they have, if you're coming in as an international student, you don't have anywhere to stay, you don't know anybody. Is this mic on? Yes, you don't have anywhere to stay, you don't know anybody. Like they can have someone pick you up from the airport. They can, like, they collaborate with families, right? Some families who are willing to help international students or students coming into the country to study in that area. So they'll be like, oh, they'll pick you up at the airport, you have somewhere to stay. um so yeah, different schools and their resources or the supports that they actually offer to students. But also make sure that you're somewhere where at least there'll be like African society or Nigerian society or whatever society like you belong to or you belong to based off your nationality. Another question here is, um, how did you adjust, or how did I adjust to the American education system compared to Nigeria? I think that that was not even an issue, to be honest, in terms of like, okay, no. So when I first came, I think I have this vlog on this channel talking about how I was like, what's going on? I was not understanding the things that they were saying. Like I was like, I was not hearing the English properly. Let me say it that way. So like it was just so hard. There were lots of readings to do. It was just not giving. And like it's harder if you've even worked before and you're not coming to study like how I did. Like I was already working. My mind was not like, I didn't have the book brain again. And then I came and I had to have the book brain. Okay. So how did I adjust? Well, you adjust, Noni, right? Because like if you don't adjust, like you're going to lose your assistantship. If you have an assistantship, you're going to lose it because you cannot have a C as an international student. If you have a C, like different schools and there are like regulations and all that, but if you have a C as an international student, you're going to lose your assistantship. I would say another thing that I had to adjust to was the I want to say this one in a nice way. I think it was kind of like the acceptance of even everything. Studying and learning does not have to be hard. Like if you schooled in Nigeria, you know what I'm saying. Like learning in Nigeria was hard. Like all those times when I was in ninth class in Nigeria, ninth class meaning I go to school to read at ninth, and I was in ninth class and my hands, I said my hands, that's because my hands are hurting me. All those times I had to do ninth class and you're reading and you're struggling, no electricity, like it was bad. I don't know about other people who went to private university, but for me it was not cool at all. So when I came here and I was like, oh, constant electricity, like my professors are nicer, like they just like want, they care, they want you to succeed. It was hard for me to accept that. Even like I remember one time when I was in my masters and I was in this class and the professor asked a question and was like, so what do you like, how are you finding the class? And honestly, I just said that I'm struggling to relate. I'm struggling to what am I saying? I'm struggling to see how this class is applicable in the real world. I said that honestly. Like it was late. I was like, even the audacity to say such a thing. But like it wasn't even a bad thing. Then I just came, so I was like, I was still thinking that, oh, if you say this thing, like, no, they're asking you genuinely because they want to know how to be able to adjust the curriculum and stuff. Now, all the years when I was in Nigeria, I never did evaluation ever. For all the classes I took, all the professors that taught me, there was nothing like evaluation. Here, when I was in my master's, you had to do the evaluation at the end of the semester. They'll send you like anonymous like survey to fill, so you like answer questions about the professor and the class and all that. So it was just very different actually. So when you come here, I think one of the things I'll say is to be accepting of like the change. I remember me, I always have like anxiety when it comes to exams, like I'm nervous. So I remember telling my professor that please though, I'll require more time for this test. And he was like, sure, no problem. He was going to give me more time. I was like, oh, oh, oh. Yeah, so those are some things that I would say. Also, the grading system is kind of different. How they grade here and how we grade in Nigeria is very, very different. Um, okay, guys, so I have to make this the end of part one. I didn't plan to make this video in two parts, but I have the complete video, but it's too long. So I'm like, okay, I'll just divide it in two parts. So this is the end of part one. I will have part two by next week uploaded on the channel, actually scheduled, but uploaded on the channel and for you guys to watch. So make sure you ask me any questions. Make sure you reach out to me on Instagram or drop your comments in the comment section, and make sure you what? Subscribe. See you guys in part two of the video. Okay, bye.